No, we have a lot of priorities. Quarterback is the obvious one. We're going to be very meticulous there, but it's not going to end there. I think we need to make sure that in our search for Cleveland Browns that we're very meticulous, and I think the staff's already off to a good start in finding those guys.
What do you think about Johnny football?
I haven't had a chance to sit down. I've done a little TV scouting, but haven't really gotten into the nuts and bolts. So it's hard to judge somebody just based on highlights and some game film. So that's something that our quarterback project, I think, will be lengthy and take some time. Whether it is somebody coming out in this draft or whether it is a veteran, whoever we see fit to fill that position, that's how we'll proceed.
Did you or will you interview all three of the top ones here?
Yeah, as Ray said, I'm not really going to comment on who we're going to interview. I mean, it's a process. We'll gather all the information we feel, whether it's here or whether it's in workout. We'll gather the information we feel we need.
Get your impressions of Sammy Watkins, as a receiver and what?
Explosive athlete, and I think at any time that you can add somebody to your team that can score points, can make explosive plays. I mean, that's what the NFL is all about. Being a defensive coach, you think about, hey, we're going to play great defense, run the football. I don't think you can win that way anymore in the NFL. You have to have players that when they get their hands on the ball are special, and I think he falls into that category.
Mike, do you want to play a 3-4 or a 4-3 as your base defense?
Yes.
All right.
We're multiple. We'll be in both fronts, and if you can draw the front, we'll likely be in it. I think that's been the key to our success. Whether it was Rex's tenure in Baltimore, when I took over New York, certainly in Buffalo. Excuse me. That we'll be multiple front, multiple coverage.
Mike, Manziel and Bortles are so different the way they play the game. So different physically. How do you guys decide what style would be best for you?
I think that's going to come down to the combined effort of the staff. When I look at Kyle's background, that he was able to succeed with a Matt Schaub and an RG3, who I don't think you could be further apart on the spectrum of a skill set. So I think that gives me confidence that whoever we take, whoever ends up fitting that position, will be a player that gives us the best chance to win.
Neither of those guys won a championship. They were successful. He didn't win anything with either of those. What's going to separate? What's going to make this guy a championship quarterback?
Well, I think being a championship quarterback is not making him win the championship himself. You saw that happen in Seattle. I mean, would you put Russell Wilson in the top 10 in the NFL quarterbacks? No. It's a team sport. They played great defense. The supporting cast around him was tremendous, and he the very first thing he did was he didn't lose games before he went out to win them. And I think that's the key to success. There are some rare quarterbacks that can do that in this league, but there's not that many of them. And if you don't have that guy, don't put yourself in a position where the quarterback has to win the game for you.
When you talk about the 3-4, 4-3 in being versatile, how does it affect trying to find guys, like say in the draft? I mean, do you need to find 2 inside linebackers that you're going to have on the field?
No, what I think it does is I think it opens up our options. We're not limited in the type of football player we can take. If there's a guy that's an explosive athlete that can make plays for us defensively, then we'll find a spot for him. Again, fitting the system to the players, not the players to the system. We won't have guys we'll circle on the board and say, well, he's not really a fit for us schematically. If he's an outstanding player that can be productive in this league, we'll find a home for him.
Do you expect to have DeQuell Jackson on your football team this year?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you expect to have DeQuell Jackson on your football team this year?
Yeah, he's currently under contract. He came into town, and he and I sat down, had a great meeting. It's easy to see why he's so highly thought of. The leadership ability and the intangibles to me are off the chart.
But his contract situation calls for...
Sure, I'm not going to speak.
Right.
He's currently under contract. I'm not going to speak on the future of that contract. We'll make that decision.
When was that meeting?
Coming weeks.
When did you meet with him?
It was within the first week I was hired. Mm-hmm. That he was in town and bounced right up to the office, and he's you can tell he's special. He's special that way.
Mike, the big story yesterday was that the Browns tried to trade for Jim Harbaugh before they hired you. What were your feelings about that story?
Well, when I got the phone call, I did a little bit of shooting the messenger first. That I asked. I said, how does this affect my tenure as the Cleveland Browns head coach? Has that changed? And the obvious answer was no. And then I think my next line had something to do, had the word either flying in it or referenced a part of a rat's body. That it doesn't faze me. I mean, that's noise to me. What it tells me is that the Cleveland Browns have the desire to win and want to get this team back to a championship level. So to me, it shows the commitment. But as far as how it affects me and my approach to how I'm going to coach this football team and how we are moving forward, has zero effect.
So it's been confirmed. It's your understanding that they did pursue.
No, I was just told what was about to be reported.
Mike, a lot of people are saying this is a really